Welcome back to the Phoenix Files. Today, we are talking sports.
Of course, bro. I'm super excited about this episode because I know that we have pretty different sporting backgrounds, but I think that there's a lot of potential for some interesting talks, and I'm stoked to hear your point of view.
Okay, August, what is the weirdest sport that you know of?
I think, personally, one of, maybe not the weirdest, but definitely one that I'm a little confused about is bobsledding. Because, I don't know, it's just like
Just something about
slide.
it?
It's like an ice slide of death combined with sort of like like the rocket from Super Mario's, and you just
Yeah.
like get in there and you just like rip down the ice slide. I don't know, it reminds me of like Ice Age.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know, that seems way too deadly for me, but maybe you have a different opinion.
For me, it has to be biathlon. It's cross-country skiing with guns. They just post up every now and then. Just go pew, pew, pew. It's a American skiing simulator, if you don't know. But, like, what was, like, the main sport you grew up playing?
I grew up playing like lots of different things. I definitely like did the sort of status quo soccer experience for most of my youth, and then I was like snowboarding a lot. Like snowboarding has probably been my most consistent sport. I've been snowboarding for like forever. Soccer I gave up on because my knees are just horrendous, or they were horrendous. So I was definitely down and out a lot. Sometimes spent in ambulance at the tryouts. That was probably one of my weakest moments in my sports career. And then like during COVID, I transitioned into like skateboarding and stuff, but maybe we'll get into that later. How about you?
It's been, like, hockey all the way since I was, like, 6. During middle school, I did a little side quest, played on the basketball team. We made provincials, played about, like, 2 minutes the entire season. Scored 2 points, though, so that's all good. But it's been hockey all the way, like, fully committed since I was, like, 13. Moved away at 16 to play it, and, like, now I'm playing in university, so that's, like, all I've been doing most of my entire life.
Interesting. And when it comes to hockey, like, how much does being like Canadian mean to you? Because I know that there's a big affinity between hockey and like national identity. Do you think that that was a big inspiration for you, or how did that play in?
Like, at the time when I was a kid, I probably didn't think about it very much. But, like, the more and more you grow up, like, these past Olympics, like, it means a lot to care about hockey and to play hockey. Like, all we were talking about in the locker room that entire week is, like, oh, how much is Canada going to win this game by, or this game, you know? Like, it is very identity-driven, but at the time, maybe my dad was thinking about it when he put me in it. But, like, for me specifically, it was never about that.
Interesting. Man, I can't even skate, man. So I'm on the other side.
Everybody
of the spectrum in that regard.
says this, and, like, skating's hard. It's not that hard. Like, once you find your balance, you'll be locked in. Worst comes to worst, you can push those little, like, bobsleds around.
There you go.
Like, what was your main inspiration during COVID to switch into skateboarding? Because there's a big culture around it, and, like, there's a divide between culture and, like, sport. But, like, what was your embrace into it?
I think there's a lot of things going into skateboarding. First of all, it's like with the quarantine, it's easier to do like a very free sport where you can kind of isolate yourself and still practice and have lots of fun, or just hang out with a couple friends and kind of explore. Because I remember like longboarding during quarantine, like down like Gordon and all these main roads. There's no cars, and that was like really cool. And then I think like growing up playing like Skate 3 on my Xbox.
Oh, yeah, that's a throwback.
Oh my gosh, that game was so good. And like, dude, I was super tapped into like tech decking, bro.
Okay.
Like I was unreal.
I had
bro.
a tech deck when I was younger. I could not figure out how to do any tricks on it, man, if
Dude.
I'm being honest. I wish I did. It seems like a very cool hobby if you get into it.
It's like there's like a whole subculture there. It's crazy. It's like furries, but even more like, you know, on the
It's
down
more
low,
niche.
bro. Yeah, exactly.
It's
more
more
niche. More niche than the furries, bro. But and then also like I scootered a lot, right?
Yeah.
I was like that average like scooter kid, kind of pulling up to Bentley and Kelowna and just ripping around, getting in everybody's way and stuff. So I definitely had that period.
What do you think, like, the divide is between skateboarding as a sport and as the culture? Because as the culture, when I think about it, it's like Jackass, Zoomies, like all these different things that go into it. What do you think the divide is?
It's an interesting point that you bring up Zoomies, because there's definitely like this sort of like there's this animosity within the skateboarding culture towards the like corporate side, and then there's like sort of the like like hesh side would be like maybe a term to describe it, but sort of like the authentic side of skateboarding.
Yeah.
But skateboarding nonetheless is like an extremely cultural activity. I would really refrain from even calling it a sport in certain respects. It's definitely more of like an art form. It's similar to almost like figure skating in a way. Like it's kind of like your presentation of what you've been practicing rather than like a competition, exclusively a competition maybe. But I think that like it's also like very culture dependent because the kids that get into skateboarding aren't so much like wanting to be the best at it, but they think it's like cool sort of thing, which I think is it's there's that in every sport, but I think skateboarding especially has that sort of aspect to it, which I think is like really shows how much it is like a cultural thing rather than a physical sport.
So I know you also rock climb. How do you feel about like skateboarding and rock climbing joining the Olympics in 2021? Do you think that legitimizes it more as a sport?
I'd say in both cases that was like very controversial, and it's like a very relevant conversation to be having. When it comes to skateboarding, I'm not super tapped into the culture anymore, so I don't exactly know, but I think like the fact that like Japanese 13-year-olds are like just dominating is sort of reflective of how like the best skateboarder isn't necessarily the one that's in the Olympics, you know, where other sports it might be different. But there's sort of like subcategories of skateboarding, right? There's like the athletes and then the people that are doing it for the culture, people that are doing it for the art, people doing it for themselves sort of thing. Yeah. And I think there's that in every sport, but I think skateboarding especially, you kind of see that sort of distinction a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something about hockey and sort of more of a broad-based question. What do you think you've like learned from your hockey experience? Like, is there anything that really has stuck with you?
I think like hockey people get this bad rap of like, I don't know if it's a bad rap of being like immature or like just they do crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like moving away at a younger age, it made me a lot more mature. Like I'd learned from like very mature individuals like how to be a leader in those spaces. I think that would be like the main thing I would honestly take away from it.
Interesting. Yeah. And when it comes to hockey's culture, because I know we were just talking about skateboarding and stuff, do you have like a favorite part of hockey culture and maybe a least favorite part about hockey culture?
My favorite and least favorite is like the locker room. Okay. At the same time, it's like I love being around the guys most of the time, but there's some times where it's like, hey, like I'm the only person of color on this team. Like I don't want to be eating jokes about that all day, every day. So there have been points where I have to like draw a line in the sand and be like, hey, like I'm also just like a normal guy. I just want to be treated like a normal guy. You don't need to be going after me day after day. And like once I did that, like it was awkward to start to even like speak up about that. But after that, it went back to like being business as usual, just shooting the shit with the guys in the locker room and like when we go out on the weekends and stuff.
Interesting. It's interesting you bring that up as well, because I had a conversation earlier with one of my friends who's part of the LGBTQ community. And he was telling me a little bit about how inclusivity in that regard with hockey is like very interesting, where the men's side of things, there's almost like no members of the LGBTQ community. Whereas on the female side, there's actually like almost like open. An over-representation in many ways. Like it's very popular for those in that community. Is that something that's talked about a lot?
Not really. I mean, the only like LGBTQ like male player I know of is Lucas Prokop, who plays for the Milwaukee Admirals in the AHL. And on the female side, I know there's a lot. I can't like name them right now, but it's not something that's really talked about. Like when Heated Rivalry came out, like I guess it was a topic of discussion, but that's a TV show and it's not talking about the actual issue.
100%. Yeah. I had one more question for you. Do you think that competition is the most important part of hockey?
I, sitting here today, would say no. Like me a couple years ago, I'd be like, yeah, man, I love the competition. The competition, honestly, like drove me crazy to a certain extent. Like I wanted to be like perfect so bad, and everybody told me I could have gone like so far that I started like worrying too much, and I started trying to be perfect too much, and I just kind of like lost the love of it. I feel like if you try too hard at something for too long, it loses all its luster. And for hockey, for me, that's kind of what happened. Even to a certain extent this year, like I was trying so hard to get in the lineup, I was trying so hard to do this and that I honestly started to resent it at a certain point. So for me, it would be more just like taking a deep breath and just trying to enjoy every moment you're out there. Like I would definitely recommend playing beer league just with your friends. Like just try to have a fun time. I wouldn't think of it as like competition is the end all be all. Just try to enjoy yourself when you're doing it.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. So like let's transition to your rock climbing phase. Okay. I know it's become very more popular over recent years. Do you think in a sports context, let's say the Olympics, there's speed climbing and there's bouldering. Do you think speed climbing or bouldering represents rock climbing as a sport more?
I might get in trouble from this for some of my friends, but I think that bouldering is probably the most authentic form of rock climbing. Yeah. Bouldering in a competition is very different from like outdoor bouldering in that there's this sort of new trend of like very dynamic moves and it's kind of entering a sort of parkour oriented way of doing things, which is
like jumping from hold to hold
instead of like bruntish sort of strong moves or impressive technique and stuff like that in like an outdoor style of fashion, which I think is maybe less authentic, but all in all, I think bouldering is probably the closest just because you're not attached to a rope. And I like that concept where it's like you're actually like just you in the wall. Yeah. I've transitioned more into rope climbing recently, which is also very, very cool. But you're definitely like aided by a lot more sort of synthetic things. You got the rope, you got quick draws and all that stuff. So I would say bouldering does a pretty decent job. Speed climbing is like the like DLC of rock climbing. Like
it's just extra.
Yeah, dude, it's that's a whole different sort of thing.
Like bouldering is save the world, and then speed climbing is like battle royale.
Exactly. Like that's how it's free for all in there for sure. So
like it is cool to watch though the speed climbing, but I think bouldering is like definitely more impressive if you see somebody go up like such a difficult wall or a hold or something. I think that is the spot to do it. What is your thought on things adjacent to rock climbing, like cave diving and all these things that have also been becoming more popular in previous years?
Yeah, with adjacent sports, I mean, it's cool to see that a lot of these sports, there's a lot of like overlap with people like participating, which is nice. Like I feel like maybe not so much cave diving because that's really niche, but like, you know, like mountaineering and stuff like that, or like ice climbing is a whole different thing. And like if you're a good ice climber, you're also doing like sport climbing. Maybe you're also doing like cave diving stuff. So I do like the fact that it's pretty like fluid when it comes to who can participate and stuff. But I also think that like cave diving's super gnarly. Like that's like that's pretty scary.
Have you ever tried it?
No. I don't think I don't think I'm claustrophobic, but I might be. You know, and I don't really want to test
I definitely would. Like I've seen videos of people just like sliding through like I think it's like 4-inch cracks in the ground. Yeah, they have to like suck in like all the way, and it's like I'm not doing all that like nutty putty cave incident. Like I'm not trying to end up
exactly,
like that,
bro.
man.
And there's like poop and stuff on the ground, and like
there is
spiders and stuff.
Oh,
I'm sure from like bats and stuff. Maybe.
Oh, probably yeah. Like spiders and stuff for sure. It's like if one landed on my hand, even when I was rock climbing, I would freak out, let go of the rock, and fall to my death. Like it would just be over. What do you think about like Alex Honnold and his free soloing? That's gone over. Like he just climbed Taipei 101, I think it's called.
I think so.
Yeah. Like what do you think about all that stuff?
It's cool. I mean, Alex is like unbelievable, man. Like climbing Half Dome, especially in Yosemite, was crazy. Like free soloing that is insane. And then now like doing the commercial stuff is like fine. He seems like a chill guy. I think he's like a little bit insane. I think like proven with his like fear factor and stuff. But like free soloing is like, I mean, I guess it's like also like a very pure form of climbing. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Because it's like literally
like life and death.
You will die. Yeah. But there's definitely something to be done there, I guess.
There's like a niche for it. And like you said, like he climbed Yosemite, which is really cool. What do you think the difference is like climbing a building compared to that, knowing your knowledge of rock climbing? What's the difference?
I think the difference is mostly like intent. Like if you're climbing rock, you're kind of doing it more for yourself, I feel like, or you're doing it more for like nature, stuff like that. And then if you're climbing buildings, it's like you want to say you've done it maybe. I know a lot of people like it. That's the competitive side of things, like who can climb the craziest building, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say that. But maybe we should transition. We have a guest today.
We do have a guest.
And his name is Seba Manuel, and he's a star player, local star player on the UBCO Heat volleyball team. So welcome, Sebastian.
Yep. Okay, awesome. I'm Seba. I'm born and raised in Kelowna here, and I am an outside hitter for UBCO. I just finished up my 4th year here, and I'm super excited to be on the show with the Phoenix team. So I appreciate the invite and being welcomed here. It's awesome.
Of course, bro. It's
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
of course.
Me and Seba have known each other for a long time now. Like throwback to like what, 3 years old or whatever.
3 years old, yeah.
Yeah. So
Les Petits Oursons,
goes Les Petits Oursons. Yeah, for sure. Is it still?
I would assume so. Like I drive by there all the time to go to the gym, but yeah, it seems
amazing.
Like it's still kicking.
Okay, so we got a few questions for you. One that I was thinking about is considering we have known each other for a long time. Do you reminisce a lot about like high school volleyball, or maybe like when volleyball was less of a competitive thing for you?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say so. Like there's kind of two stems with that there. Like from the high school volleyball side, it was still really competitive, and obviously I reminisce about that. Like it was still a good level of volleyball, still interesting, still competitive, but it was definitely more lighthearted. It was pretty fun. But then on the same side of that coin, there's also the middle school side, which was a little bit more low key, a little bit more chill, and I definitely miss that vibe. Like every day you show up to practice and you're just kind of there to have fun, hang out, have a good time, and then once you get older, that's when stuff starts to get a little bit more serious, and that's when it just kind of starts to kick into that next year. But yeah, no, I'd say I definitely miss it, but reminisce a little bit. But I'm pretty happy where I'm at now, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, that's good.
For me, like once hockey started getting competitive, like everybody was thinking about college, playing for university. Was that your goal once stuff started to get more competitive?
Yeah, I'd say pretty much right from the get-go. My dad's the women's coach at UBCO here, so I've always been in a pretty competitive environment with volleyball. I'd say that from when I was sentient about volleyball, when whatever, like 10, 11 years old, I was pretty set on ending up playing post-secondary and then hoping to get that next stage and go to professional and international volleyball. So that's definitely still the goal and the dream for me. But yeah, I'd say that pretty much right off the rip, I was pretty dialed to get to university and post-secondary volleyball.
Was UBCO always the goal?
No, actually, I was pretty adamant about coming here when I first started out. I was pretty serious, pretty set on going away from home in a different experience, different environment. But as I started getting closer to committing to university, I realized that this was actually going to be a really good opportunity for me. And then I was tossing up actually UBC Vancouver and UBCO. Like those were kind of the two main options at the end of the day. And then, yeah, my final choice was to end up here, and I'm pretty happy about it. I think this is definitely the right decision. So, yeah.
That's interesting. When it comes to prospects of like going forward, is there any places that you'd like to play volleyball?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got one more year of university, so I'll play one more year here at UBCO, and then beyond that, I'm looking to play pro in Europe. So the stepping stone is different for everyone. Like for the most part, people go into a mediocre league, typically like somewhere in like the Czech Republic, like maybe Belgium or somewhere in there. So that would be a good place to start out with. Still competitive league, still high level. But then, yeah, the ideal for me would be Italy. It's the best league in the world, and obviously it's got some pretty cool culture there. I'm a big fan of the food and everything there. So I'd say that's probably my main goal, the main spot that I'd like to end up. But
that's super sick, man.
Yeah.
How intense can volleyball get at times? Because hockey is a very intense game with physical contact.
Yeah.
Volleyball being a non-contact sport, can you just describe how intense it can get at times?
Yeah, for sure. It gets, obviously it's different from an outsider's view. Like obviously you don't have the full knowledge, the full experience. Like I can't relate exactly to how hockey is intense-wise, but it seems pretty intense from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's different, right? Because it's a very physical sport, hockey, and then volleyball, there's a big net dividing us. Like there's no physical contact with the other team whatsoever. You can throw some words back and forth across the net, but that gets clamped down on pretty hard and pretty quick. But it's a different kind of intensity. Like you're trying to keep the ball off the floor trying to do everything in your power to make sure this rally continues, and then you're trying to put it away on their side of the floor. So just a different kind of intensity, and just, yeah, putting your all into one point and going on to the next point right after that and having to forget all about it. It's a different kind of intensity, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are there any sports that you wish you had tried, or maybe kept playing, or even look forward to maybe trying in the future?
For sure. Yeah, obviously you guys were talking about snowboarding and skiing earlier on, so that was something I enjoyed quite a bit as a kid. But then when I started getting more serious about volleyball, I had to make some tough decisions, and I had to lay back on that side of my life. So I'd say from the recreation side, I'm looking to pursue a little bit more, maybe pick up snowboarding, because I did a little bit of that, wasn't very good at it, but I've always been interested. So on that side, yeah, I think I'd like to try snowboarding.
I still think about that photo that we have when we first, because I first tried snowboarding with you. Like we both. And that's a classic photo, man.
Yeah,
that's
super OG, super
Pop
OG.
it up on screen if we have it.
Yeah. Oh, we can get that photo. We can get that photo.
It's in the big white picture book for sure somewhere. We can find that, absolutely, yeah.
In your career with volleyball, have you had any major injury setbacks or stuff that like nags at you from time to time that you have to overcome?
Yeah, I've had a few. From the more injury setback side of things, I broke my finger at provincials in grade 12 high school volleyball. I had to get 2 surgeries for that, and I had to be out for a good 6 months to recover, which is kind of ridiculous for a finger. Yeah, and I still have no function on that finger. It doesn't bend, it doesn't straighten any more than it does. So pretty mangled, but doesn't really affect my volleyball that much. And then I've always had some nagging shoulder and knee injuries that are just kind of overused, like typical stuff. I'm sure you see that in a lot of other sports. Like I'm sure in hockey there's tons of stuff where you have to deal with constantly. But yeah, just those nagging injuries that are kind of annoying.
For hockey, it's like hips. Like there's 2 guys on my team that have had like hip replacements already, and we're in our 20s. It's like, what are we doing here?
That's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
How about you? Have you had anything that just
it's
really
like
bothering you?
I've had sprained wrists, sprained ankles, like mostly the extent of it. My left knee is like really bad. I've never gone to a chiro to get it like examined because I'm too scared that something's like going to be like really, really wrong. Yeah. Besides that, just concussions. I've had like 4 concussions while I played, so it's just that's the extent of it.
Brutal, man. How about you, August? Obviously the knee injuries with soccer, but
yeah, dude, my kneecaps were all over the place back in the day, but now it's like, dude, I think I got arthritis in like this joint, just from like cranking on holds, which is such a weird injury, but also just like kind of worn down forearms, like tendons in here is like a little bit of an issue, and shoulders can sometimes be an issue, but otherwise climbing's pretty safe in the injury department, I feel like, which is nice. It's all about like keeping your fingers good. How would you describe volleyball culture? Because we've talked a little bit about our sports. What do you think in that regard?
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? Like it's not the most popular sport worldwide. Like if you play hockey for say, like if you're a Canadian, there's a big culture icon there. Like there's definitely something to look up to. Everyone as a kid, they're like, hey, like I know this hockey player or whatever. And then like basketball, stay in the States, like everyone knows who LeBron James is, who Michael Jordan is. And it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit more niche, a little bit more underground. So it's kind of cool in that respect. It's like I feel very knowledgeable in the volleyball community. Like I know X and X on this team and whatever, but I'd say that it's more underground, it's more niche. So it's kind of cool in that aspect, and it's nice to see that it's kind of growing and it's starting to hit that international stage a little bit more, and it's starting to get brought into Western culture a little bit more slowly but surely. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Like it's just a little bit more low key.
Yeah, that's cool. If you had to guesstimate from the time you were in middle school to where you are now in your 4th year of university, how much time has volleyball taken up, specifically volleyball training?
Yeah, I'd say like on average, 4 practices a week, 2 hours, especially at university. Like 4 hours, 2 hours, a day, 4 times a week. And then in the summertime with like Team BC and some national team stuff, it's been multiple times a day, about 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week. So I don't know, probably something upwards of 10,000 hours in that area if I were to just throw a number out there. But yeah, it's definitely been a big part of my life, and I've had to put quite a bit of work to get here. But yeah, no, I'd say it's a very big number. Yeah.
It's very interesting. And you were talking a little bit about volleyball culture, and I want to follow up on that with just one more question, because from an outsider perspective, it doesn't seem to have that sort of like cultural aspect that maybe like skateboarding has, or maybe hockey as well here in Canada. But one thing it does have is beach volleyball. Seems to be a little bit more of or maybe it has a little bit more of like a cultural aspect to it than gym volleyball. Do you think that there is something to that? Like, how does beach volleyball compare to gym volleyball?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I feel like beach volleyball, it's just a little bit more accessible. Like if you're going down to City Park or Gyro, you see beach volleyball courts there. You can just bring a ball, and then 4 people or 12 people or 24 people can all just mess around and whack a ball over the net. So it's pretty accessible. And then there's also just that beach summer vibe to it that I think is just super encompassing. Like you just kind of want to be a part of that. And I'd say that's the biggest part of it. Like there's a big league in the States, the AVP, which has been around for quite a while and generates a fair bit of publicity. So I'd say that's a big part of it. It's just, I'd just say it's accessible. It's way easier to just go to a beach volleyball court and mess around with your friends for a few hours than rent a court, have to buy a net and all that stuff, and then it's a little bit more structured. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of different vibe to it, but cool.
Just because of like how tall you are, do people mistake you for a basketball player or something else most of the time?
Yeah, I get that quite a bit. Basketball is the main one that people peg on me, but yeah, I'd say for the most part. But honestly, anything, like if you're with the team, then they'll throw anything. We were talking earlier how we've gotten hockey before, we've got soccer, we've gotten rugby, football, we've got everything under the sun. But yeah, for the most part, basketball, it's the biggest one.
Yeah, for hockey guys, it's like most of us are on the shorter side for the most part, at least on my team. So I don't think we could get anything besides like maybe soccer, but I don't even know how tall soccer guys are, if I'm being honest. What do you guys think like the biggest differentiator is between a solo sport and a team sport?
Well, I'd say, if I can, that we can relate a little bit more in that aspect. Like there's that locker room side of things, but if I could speak for August's side of things, like I think that you're going with a bunch of guys, like you're going bouldering, whatever, like there's definitely still that team culture, even though you're not competing with each other against an opponent. Like if you're with your friends, correct me if I'm wrong, I'd say like you're all trying to hype each other up and see if you can get that hold or whatever, get this climb.
No,
in,
you're completely right, and I think that what you are competing against is you're competing against yourself, right? Instead of others, but you still have the team to back you up in that respect. Like I'll be belaying my friend or whatever, screaming at him because I know he's at the hard part. I'm like, you go, like get it, dude, like come on. Or in the gym, right? Like they recently did like a competition at the gym, which is essentially like who can climb the hardest climbs the fastest sort of thing. But there's like an energy in there and you're rooting for your friend, right? Like my friend got second, shout out Leaf, man, he did a good job. But so I think that there is still sort of a team aspect there. But one thing I wanted to bring up with the solo sport thing is that there's also like a unique sort of fear aspect, at least with the ones that I've participated in, which I don't know, do you guys think that fear plays a big part in team sports? Because for me, as somebody competing against myself, whether I'm up high on a rock or whether I'm skateboarding and I want to do something that could really hurt myself, or I'm snowboarding like the cliff or whatever at Big White, like it seems to be always overcoming a fear, and that's sort of the thrilling part about it. What do you guys feel like there's a fear aspect to your sports?
I'd say like the biggest thing is fear of making a mistake and trying to find that balance in it. Obviously you want to be, you mentioned it earlier, you want to be as perfect as you can without worrying so much about how perfect you're being, and you want to let go when you make those kind of mistakes. But yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing. There's some injury fear as well. You want to make sure you don't get injured. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
It's definitely different for both of us. Like being in a contact sport, there honestly can be fear if you're playing like against like a big player. I remember when I was in California, in Fresno, they had this like big Russian guy, and he would like come down the train tracks and absolutely like kill people. And people used to be like scared to go up against him. But like it's the same thing. Like fear of making a mistake is like the main thing that goes over everything.
Interesting. Yeah. One other thing to ask both of you guys that I don't participate in is like going to the gym. How do you think that has impacted maybe your sports, or what do you think maybe about like gym culture? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's massively related to success, especially from my side of things. I'm sure that you can relate too. Like, if you're a stronger hockey player, I'm sure that's going to benefit you massively in your success and how well you do. But yeah, I'd say that without the gym, it would be very hard to be where I am today. Like, you have to really get that lower body strength to be able to jump as high as you can and as fast as you can. So from that side of things, it's pretty pivotal. But I can't speak too much to the culture side of it because, I don't know, it's a little bit more sheltered here. For the most part, I work out in the HPL, which is mostly just athletes. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, I'm curious to see if you have.
There is definitely like a difference between like training for a specific sport. Like in the summer, if I want to do some like sport training, get faster, get more athletic, jump higher, I'll go to a certain gym in Abbotsford. But like if I just want to lift weights and like make my muscles look bigger, then I'll just go to a commercial gym. So there's that difference for like athletes in college. It's definitely better to be training specifically for a sport. And in that sense of it, you don't really get mixed in with the other gym culture that's going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't think I have anything else. Seba, do you have anything else? Do you have questions for August?
Honestly,
do you want to expose him on anything?
I have nothing negative to say about August right now,
That's
unfortunately.
crazy.
So, yeah.
Dude, he's keeping it under wraps.
I'm pulling the politics card here. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Seba, for joining us. Everybody give him a round of applause. Woo! Round of applause, everybody in the room. Everybody in the room. Thank you. That was Phoenix Files episode 8.
Eight.
Sorry. 8. Episode 8. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya. Awesome.
Good job.
That was stellar. That was good.
Sweet.
Can't complain.
Glad.